Well, now that Drew Peterson's son has reached the age of 18 and considered an adult, he's coming out defending his father. Tommy Peterson says he wants his name dropped from a wrongful death lawsuit. That lawsuit was filed by Kathleen Savio's family on behalf of Peterson's two sons from that marriage. Peterson, by the way, is in jail awaiting trial for the murder of his third wife, Kathleen Savio. This past weekend, 18-year-old Thomas Peterson released a letter saying he believes in his father's innocence. And joining us now with more on this is Joel Brodsky, which is Drew Peterson's attorney. Welcome. It's been a while.
How you doing?
I am doing well.
I have other clients too, you know.
I'm sure you do.
Okay.
Why did Tommy Peterson feel the need to write this letter?
Well, he became
make it so public.
Well, he became an adult. He always was upset that his grandfather and his aunt, who he really has very little contact with, actually no contact with his grandfather during his entire life, were doing anything on his behalf against his father. So he wanted him to take a stand. What he did is he released his dad, so Tommy's out of the lawsuit, but he also wanted to explain why he was taking that stand. And he sat down, and those are his own words. He typed out that letter himself. Those are his own words.
Right. I want to read a little bit of it. Tommy, by the way, is an honor student with a 4.7 GPA at Bolingbrook, state scholar, vice president of the National Honor Society, has a lot of accolades.
It's a bright kid.
Part of what he wrote, quote, "Nobody is pulling the wool over my eyes. I know to an absolute 1,000% moral certainty that my father, Drew Peterson, is innocent and the death of my mother, Kathleen Savio. Don't forget, I was with my father the entire weekend that my mother died." Was he also there the same weekend that Stacey Peterson went missing?
I think he was. I believe he was in the house. I'm really not sure that much. I mean, obviously, Drew hasn't been charged with anything regarding Stacey Peterson, so we haven't seen a lot of the discovery. We haven't seen the grand jury transcripts. Tommy was before the grand jury, for example. So really, I'm not well aware of what went on that weekend. Well,
Drew's been in the Will County Jail since May of 2009.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time. He's there being held in $20 million bond. Why is he still...
19 months he's been locked up.
We have the right to a speedy trial. Why hasn't... What's going on right now? Why is he still in there?
Well, we had that hearing, that hearsay law hearing. 5 weeks, which I think is the longest pretrial hearing in Illinois state history. And the judge decided that most of the evidence that the state wanted in was unreliable. So the state took an appeal to the appellate court asking that they allow this unreliable evidence in as hearsay. And why the state is appealing, Drew's speedy trial rights are suspended. And unfortunately, he has to sit in jail until the appellate court rules on that. You talked to him yesterday.
Yeah. What's his state of mind right now?
Drew is one of the mentally strongest men I've ever known. He's doing fine. As long as his kids are okay, as long as Stephen is okay, and the younger children are fine, Drew can take anything. He's fine. He's doing okay. His main concern has always been and always will be the welfare of his children.
Well, speaking of his children, where are they?
They're all living, other than Eric, the oldest, Stephen, and the other 4 children are all living in Drew's house in Bolingbrook. Stephen's taking care of them. Tommy's going to go away to college
so
next year.
So he still has a house in Bolingbrook.
Right.
How's he able to keep the payments up on that?
It's paid for. He doesn't owe anything. All they have to do is pay the taxes, and Drew still is getting his $6,000 a month pension from the police department, so he's doing okay.
I want to talk to you recently about the investigation of Stacey Peterson, because in August of this year, investigators and dive teams spent much of the day in Knox County Lake following a tip on Stacey Peterson. They had divers in the river there. Now, this is connected to an area off of Route 150 and a previous spot where they were digging in Peoria back in June.
Right.
You recall that?
Right, when they found the possum bones, I think.
Where did they get this tip?
I have no idea. During the hearsay hearing, we had asked the judge to let us see that because Stacey's case was somewhat involved in that. And they gave us a heavily redacted version. I really can't say what was in it, but it's just rumors and innuendos. I mean, when you have a high-profile case, people who I think are less than 100% sometimes come forward, and the police have to check.
Does Drew have a connection to that area?
Not that I'm aware of, no. And the police, to their credit, they have to check out every lead, no matter how ridiculous or how unreliable the informant may be.
Well, it seems pretty substantive if they are sending massive crews to go dig in an area in rural Peoria and then also dive teams, because we hadn't heard anything for almost a year before this. And he said he's in isolation, so he hasn't talked to anybody.
No, he doesn't talk to anybody other than his children on the phone and myself. himself. He doesn't really talk to anybody. You know, I can't tell you what. I'm just assuming that the police are being very thorough. When somebody comes and walks in off the street and says that Stacy Peterson is buried in a certain location, they're going to go dig it up. You know, but they haven't found anything, and there's no evidence that Drew was ever involved in any way in Stacy's disappearance. And that's why he's not charged. And we're anxious and waiting to go to trial on the Kathy Savio case.
Yeah, any idea when that might be?
Well, if the appellate court rules in February, I'm hoping by the end of March we'll be on trial. I'm hoping.
All right, Joel. Thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
Certainly appreciate it.